Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yes, we can see your screen.
Also, all right, thank you. So basically, this first week, right, we are just doing like the introduction to like that, right? And as we all know, I think probably the David would have probably done like justice to this part, but I'll just try to do a recap, right? And please, if probably I am too fast, you guys can, just call me my attention to that so I can, you know, just look a bit, slow down a bit, right? So basically, we have that, right? That is a programming language that we use to for Flutter, right? For this code for mobile development, right? So we have that is the programming language we'll be using. Then also we have Flutter, which is literally the framework that we'll be using for this uh, okay, so sorry. mm, So we have Flutter, like that's the framework that I'll be using for this project, for this course, right? So I will know that that is a programming language, and I think last week we discussed variables, we discussed functions, we discussed operators, right? So I'll go that route a bit today before I move to the main topic for today, right? Yes. So basically, if in case probably you missed last class, right? Um, start with variables, right? And we said that variables are used to like store a value in the memory. So we have different types of. Let me just remove this. So we have different types of variables. So we said that. Let me just store this. So we said that integers are used to like get values, like are used to integers are used to get like assigned to like, let's say, a value now. So let's say I want to, this is how we assign like a variable now. So this variable is of type integers, right? And I'm setting it to 24 years, right? And we have another data types which I can say double now, right? So double can be like double has the what double has is that it can take like I can say double my age equals to 22.0, right? So double can take what's happening? Okay. So double can take a decimal point. I mean, we've done this last class. I'm just going through like a recap of that, right? Then also we discussed about strings, right? So basically, when you are working on a full-fledged application, right, you would see something like this. You see something like you see like something like string name equals to Peter, right? So then once you start working on projects, right, you literally see something like this. Then we have booleans, we have list, and we have maps, right? So these are just variables, right? And I can say we can also say that we have like a list, and we also talked about, I think we also talked about arrays, right? So then we have maps and the rest like that, right? I don't know if this part is clear, right? So these are just variables. So basically, these are just like the normal how do I put it now? These are just the basics of programming generally. So this is not just for Flutter and that alone. I mean, for Java, we have for this is for variables. We have variables in most of every programming language, right? We have variables for Java. We have the syntax might be different, right? But an integer in that is kind of it's also similar to like it and it's Java as well. You get so that these are just the basics and this of any programming language generally. So, and I feel like these are the things that we need to learn. Like, you don't have to memorize them, you just need to understand them. Because, I mean, we live in a world that we don't have ChatGPT right now, right? But I feel like there's some basic core foundational stuff that you need to, learn, right? It's just to understand them. You necessarily don't need to and cram them, or you necessarily don't know that. Just know that okay, we have a data types, right? So a case where we use this is when, let's say now that you are building an application, right? And you want to you have want users to sign in, right? And you need a user model. Do you get now? So a user signing in, they'll have a name, they'll have a first name, they'll have like the age, they'll have the what else? Name, first name, last name, age, department, if you are depending on the kind of application you are building, right? So you tend to so when you are defining your user model, right, you have to define that those parameters with these data types, right? So let's say if you are working on something around finance, right? You have once you have the user credentials, right? Once in your user model you have and when you get to, let's say your name is a string, your last name is a string, let's say probably you're working on a financial district, you have your amount, your available balance, those can have the data type of double, right? Because they can have decimal places, right? So then maybe during the flow, you have a KYC flow now that once you are done with your onboarding flow, it will change your from your KYC from pending to like it's true and to you are done like from false to true. So there might be a field for probably KYC pending to from false from it will be a Boolean value, which is part of the data types that we discussed last time. Sorry, can anybody still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
loud,
Thank you.
loud and clear.
Thank thank you. So also we have a Boolean value, right? So that's just like a typical use case of where we use these variables. I mean, this call is recorded, right? That's why I would have probably loved to like show like an actual functional application and where we use all these variables, right? But I'm not sure I'll be doing that like this because of you know the this thing like that. So basically, these are just like the core foundation things that you need to learn. And honestly, you don't need to how do I put it? You don't need to memorize them. You just to get the basics, right? I mean, I know we've done this this once in the last class. So I can say it's done equals to true. So so basically, I can now use all these things later, right? So that's for data types and variables like that. Then also we'll move to functions, right? I don't know if functions was touched the last like in our last class, right? But I feel like let me just move to functions from here, right? So what are those functions, right? Functions is a group of reusable code. So let me give you an example of a scenario that we literally use a function, right? Let's say you are working on an application for a student application, right? And you have to calculate um, their CGPA, right? So let's say you have to calculate the CGPA of that same student, right? They now have a code that does that. And like we have in a session, we have 2 semesters, right? So basically, you want to calculate the CGPA for first semester and second semester, right? So in your code, you can just write a function that literally just take the the score, right, and calculate it. So instead of you doing like writing a code to calculate your CGPA on your first semester screen, and that same code, copy that same code to your second semester screen. In code wise, basically they are literally doing the same thing. So where a function comes in is like, okay, I want to this code now, I know that I will use it somewhere else. So instead of me writing same thing and same thing, same code, copy and pasting same code in different places, right? I can just write a function, and whenever I need that function, all I just have to do is just to call the function, right? So let me give you an example of a function here. Let me just give you an example of a function here, right? So this is, I don't know if you guys talked about this thing last night or last time as well. In the normal that code would have the the main, this is the entry point to our the application, this void dot main, right? This is where the application, so if I want to run anything like that, it has to be here, right? But if I want to define a function, I'll define a function outside my main dot that file, right? Let me just call it my function here, right? So once I define that function here, I will now call it in my main dot that in my main file here. Let me just show you an example, right? So let's say I want to write a function that will literally just say it will just say, let's just say hello, let's just say probably it will just print my name. Sorry about that. So I can say that we'll have a void greeting in which it will take the function will take a string of name, then I'll close it. So I'll just say print I'll say print hello, then my name, then the name. Okay. So this is the function now, right? I've probably like this is what my function was happening. Sorry, what's happening now? So let me just comment this out for now. So in my, this is the function now. What this function is just doing is just printing my name, right? And we discussed data types, right? We know that strings is like string takes a name, right? So anytime I call this function now, what is expected for me to be passed here is a name. You get like a string. So if I'm calling this greeting in my this thing, I have to pass my name, which is Peter. So once I do this now, if I run the code now, sorry, let me comment this out, right? If I run the code now, shit, why is it taking so much? Shit, please hold on. I'm trying to get why is this not displaying? What is wrong with my dots pad? Yeah, please you can go now.
Yeah, that's it. I think that part has that issue. It usually takes a while before it loads. So there's nothing wrong with yours. It just has been playing like that sometimes.
This is it's quite long that you use that part, and so it will take a while before it loads, right? Okay.
Yes, please,
All right.
sir. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that update. So basically, this is just an example of a function, right? What am I doing here is that I am defining a function which is like a greeting function, right? And in my main method, I'm just calling that function. So basically, what function does is that they are type of like it's just the way we section, like the way we structure our code. So instead of me writing print click up click on here, shouldn't take this long. That's the funny thing about this way. That's bad. Why is it taking this long? Right. Okay. So instead of me just defining this, painting this, so basically, you see these functions, right? I can this get this written function. I can use it if it is a global function. I can use it anywhere in my code, right? I can use it anywhere in my code. So let's say that I have an application now. I'm just giving you a use case for every of these things because when we start working on Flutter, like when we start, as we proceed, right, you tend to use all these things like more you get. So let's say for an example of where we have a function is that I don't know if probably you've worked on that or probably you've seen some applications that once you get to the dashboard, you see maybe welcome Peter in that your own thing, right? In that on your dashboard. Then probably when you get to another page, you still see that welcome notes, right? So basically, instead of you writing that code over and over again, probably like in two different places, right? You can just write one function. Then once you get to that your home screen, you call the functions to display your the name. Then also when you get to the other page, right, you would also display that name. Do you understand? So that's where function literally comes in. This thing is still taking so much time, and I really don't know why it's taking so long for Byra. Shit. Please hold on, please. Let me. Okay, yeah. I think so. You can see. So basically, then also when we talked about data types, if I pass something like let me just pass a number. Let's say 102. Can you see like I'm literally getting an error? And the reason why I'm getting the error is that this function, I'm telling this function to take to accept only integers. So if data type is not matching with what I'm sending here, right, there will be an error in this emulator. I don't know if you guys can see this part. So if I change this one to say like this should take its name, right, this will work, but this will throw an error. So if you guys are still can you guys see me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
are still with you.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome,
very
awesome,
loud and
awesome.
clear.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. So that is as regards functions, right? Then also we have a function that can take. So then also we have a function that takes that does. You can use a function to probably let's say now that I want to do a calculation, right? But I don't want to do it inside my code. So I can just write a function that will take two values. So I will set the function to take an integer, right? Right. Then this void means that it should not return. Sorry, is anybody saying anything? Hello.
No, please go ahead.
Oh, awesome. All right, thank you. So then I can just have a where are you? Okay, so I can just have another function that will take okay, thank you. That will take add two numbers, right? I can just have a function that will say add two numbers. Then it will now take two values, which is int a, comma, and int b, right? So what will I do? I will just tell him to return a plus b, right? That's so once I so basically it's just the same like let me say this one has like a return value add two numbers. So once I call this function now, once I call this add two number function here, automatically it's expecting two values which has to be integer. So let's say I'm saying the first integer should be 10, then the second one should be 15, right? And I'm closing this. So what this function does for me is just to add two numbers. Do you get? So basically, instead of me saying that I want to say I want to it just return. I'm telling you to return. Okay, I'm not printing anything. Let me just print. Let me just print. Let me print. Let me see. Let me assign. Okay, so why is not returning anything here? Thank God. It's just that I'm just telling this function to just return a plus b. I am not logging anything. And if you check the other side of the console here, you notice that this is just like our what's this our terminal. That's the thing. So if you want to, if you are not logging anything here, you are not. I cannot see what I have here. So when I run this code, because I'm not printing anything, I'm just doing this value. So if I'm saying now that I can say int c equals to a plus b, I'm now returning c here. Oh, let me just print. Let me just print so that print c. So once I print C that and I'm returning that value, so I should see 10 plus 15 here, which is like 25. So I think this is also clear as well, right? Can you guys still see my screen?
Crystal clear,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically we have, I mean, when we start working, right, you see you work with a lot of functions. I mean, you just have different block of codes that okay, this part is, handling payment. This I said payment, sorry. This part is handling a particular function. This part is doing a different calculation, right? So basically, why we encourage this kind of structure, like segmenting your code to different functions, is so that when you are working, it is the readability is there, right? And also, we can also know that okay, this is, and we can also reuse some other components and functions too. So basically, the way we have functions in that is the way we also have some like call it function. Yes, we have like some widgets that you have to just segment for the use of when you start working, so that you can always use those functions somewhere else in the application, right? So that's for functions, right? So the next will be, I think we've done all this, right? We have operators in that as well. So what are just operators? Operators are very, very simple. I mean, we have different types. We have the addition. So basically, it's just like a normal operators. Like we have addition. Then we have subtraction. Then we'll have just our normal. And we have multiplication. I think I did addition here, right? So if I'm
Yes.
changing this to multiplication now, I don't know if anybody still do I need to go over this, or probably we understand this part, right? So we'll have multiplication, then we'll have what else do we have? We have division. This is for division. So this one is for division, right? Division. Then what else do we have? I think we'll also have one is this is for modulo. So basically, when you want to, let's say you want to, you're finding like a remainder, you get. So let's say that, how do I explain modulo like this now? It's just like you having to get a remainder of something. So let's say 5 divided by 2. 5 divided by 2 is that we have 2, right? Remainder 1. So if you want to get that remainder, we'll use modulo. That's the sign that this that we have here, right? Then also we have logical operators too. So we have logical. I think most of this stuff has been done in our last class. I'm just trying to, like, take a recap of the whole session, and I mean we can always because what we have tonight is not something that will take our time. I mean it's just control flow statements. Then we can take up questions, and we can now proceed to introduction to introduction to that's Flutters as a framework. So we have logical operators, we have and then we have so basically we have and this is and so these logical operations are just trying to they are used to like compare two values. So I think when we get to control statement, I'll see give an example of that this part. Then we also have or which is saying like okay we want to pick between, let's say we have a condition that says that if A and B is true, it will execute that block of code, or if one of the options are true, it also execute like that for all, right? And this flows with the normal truth table this thing. I don't know if you are all aware, like if like truth table, true, true, false, false, and some other things like that. So we'll still get to that part very, very soon. But I just want to like note this part out. So that's just like a full recap of what we've done so far. I don't know if anybody has any question at this point before we proceed to the next thing on ground. Anybody? Yeah, yeah, Emeka, you can go.
Okay, I don't think I was able when you started the function, but um why is it that you call the function before the function itself? Like you write void down, then when you're calling the function, you call it up.
Okay,
Because
so this is the thing, right? I said it earlier that this is our main method, and without this main method, this app will not run. Like this is the entry point to our application. Let me show you a similar code with Flutter, right? And this is like a function. So what this function is just doing is just taking a name. It's just accepting a string value and it is printing it. So this is the main class. This is the main class. I'm just calling this function here. So it's just like would have like a block of code that is meant like do something else, but you just call it when you need it. Do you understand? That is why it is not in my main. If you check, you notice like this curly braces here is meant for this main class. You get, and this is just its own. So that's the way we define function. Like functions, they are just sitting on their own, right? Like in your not in your code, right? They are just a set of codes that they want to like. They are meant to execute something else. If you notice that this one too is not this add two numbers. It's outside my main method. Why I'm doing this is because if I have another main method in my application, right, I can still use this greeting. So that means like this is a universal I don't want to put it now. So I can use it somewhere else in the application. I don't know if that answers your question. Like do you get my explanation now?
yes, I get. Thank you.
Oh, awesome, you're welcome. Okay, who's the next person now? Sorry, I didn't keep track of the name. You can just submit yourself and let's move.
Okay. So in this that add two number function, you already put the function to be an integer. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you already put the function to be an integer. So that adding int a and int b isn't necessary.
Okay, no, okay. So I think I get your point now, right? You are saying now that I've already put this to be an integer, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is A and int B. Okay, so this will specify the data types that this will accept, right? This is just to tell you that the function, I'm returning this value. So normally I can use this function. I can use it somewhere else in the application, not to just print a value, but it has to return the type that it has to return is an integer. So I cannot just say return A or B here, right? Okay. That's oh yeah. Wow, this is new. I think this is new. Oh, so I can even remove it here actually, and I'll still get my value because I'm already setting the data types to be A and B. Thank you for that this thing. I can also remove the this. Okay, I think I removed the prints right. So because since the function is taking an integer value, I can also remove the this thing that I'm defining here to be A and B.
Yes.
And once I run it, it will still work. So thank you for that observation. So anybody, any question else before we move to the next things that we have today so that we can quickly close and everybody can get this. running. Okay, so I think I'll take that as a no, right? So the next we'll have here is we have control flow, right? So control flow is just a how do I have to explain it now? It's just a statement that determines the flow of execution of a project of a program. So they will have different types of control flow, right? Let me just do control flow. Please, if you are probably stuck or if you don't understand, please just call my attention so that I can always go back. I mean, these are just some basic things that we're already used to. So sometimes it might be somehow this thing, but I think I get out like when I'm explaining would also you like you get it more better like that, right? Okay. So have a control flow, and basically control flow statement determines the flow of the execution of the program, right? So and the examples like the types I will have is we have different types of control flow. So we have the if let me just comment this out. We have the if else statements. Which one do we have? We also have the switch statements. Which one do I want to give here? I think this two should do because it would work with this two more often. I mean, just for now, right? So basically, this if else statement, the syntax is just that syntax is very very simple. You don't need to just understand how it works, right? So the thing is, there is a statement if then would have your conditions there. Okay, sorry. Shit, this to shout now, right? You have your condition. Where's my comments? You have a condition. Then we'll now have this. Then we'll have once you have this one now, it executes this condition. Then else will now take this. So it is very very simple. I'll still give you an example. This is beautiful. So do okay. So we'll have else do this. So do do this. So we have a condition here, right? And if this condition is met, do this. If this condition is not met, do this. So it's just to check a flow, right? This is just the syntax. I mean, this is all you need to like understand about if else statement. Let me this one will start shouting out. So that is just if else statement for you. Once you have your if, then you check for the condition. Why this condition is true, it will enter this one. If this condition is not true, what you have here, it will enter the else block. So that is just what it does. So an example is just like let me say my int score equals to 85, 86, right? Okay. So I now want to check I can say if my score is greater than 90, it should do what? It should just print. It should print grade A. Grade A. Then I'll now do an else. If my score is not greater than 90, it should print. It should print. Let's say print. Let's just say others for now, right? So what this block does is just that once it gets here, it will check if my score is greater than 90. The score is the value I'm passing here. If it is greater than 90, it will enter here. And if not, it will enter here. That is just so. Once I run this now, I don't know why I have to run this thing twice for me to say this thing. So once I run this now, I can always say that okay, this value, it will just enter this block of code. So this is my score. It will just check if 86 is greater than 90, it should not enter here. It will enter others. I don't know if you guys understand the control this if else statement. Sorry, I think I okay, also yeah. So then we also have this is just for if else, right? We also have another one that we can say, let's say we want to check for multiple options. Let's say we are building like a CGPA calculator now, right? That user will just input their score and it will probably give them like the grade that the the grade for that particular course. So I can, instead of me saying else here, I can add another field to say like else else if um else if I'll try to explain that, right? Else if grade if score is greater than or equal to 75, you should just print grade B. Grade B, right? So I can also add another one that just to check my score to just enter. I'll explain this in a bit. Is greater than equals to 760. I should enter print grade C, right? Grade C. So what I'm just saying here in short is just that okay, this is my score. My score is like, let's say my score is 52. It will check this, it will enter this first line, first block. It check is 54, is it greater than 90? If it's not greater than 90, it will not enter this block. It will enter this else if, right? It will check if it is 54 greater than or equal to 75. It will not enter this place. It will still check, okay, this condition has not been met. So until the condition here has been met, that is when it can enter the block of this block of code, right? So it might not be printing, right? I mean, you will not see a lot of times you might not really see printing, right? You can a use case that I can explain now is that let's say you are going through like an onboarding flow, right? And I'm checking like okay, for a let's say a fintech application, right? And you like once you open the fintech application, you have to madam screener, you have to do your onboarding flow, right? So there is a check that will tell you that okay, once you log in, you know there are some applications that you can open the application. Then once you open it, you will not be able like you can use it, but they will still give a pop-up for you to probably onboard or verify your account, right? So that verification check, most likely what they are using there is just to check for a value. Okay, a value. Let's say like if your verification is verification complete. If it is true, it should display that pop-up. If it is false, it should just take you that home to probably route you to another page or probably just take you to the home screen. So that's a use case for that for this if else statement. And you really don't need to you just need to understand the flow, right? Just know that okay, Once what this thing does is just to check for it enters every sorry, is anybody saying anything? Can you guys hear me? Oh, awesome.
Loud and
Please.
clear.
Oh, okay, thank you. So it just enters this flow, right? Once it enters the flow until it executes. So this is just the syntax um for if else statement, right? So it's just going through this flow, right? Enter this block. If this condition is met, it will enter here. Else if it will enter here. So if all these conditions now is not true now, that is when it will now later enter the last option, which is the else here. Like, do we get this explanation right before I move to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So then the next one I'll be going now is so the next one I'll be picking now is the switch statement. I mean, what's basically, I feel like these are the two things that you literally see much. I mean, in like when you get to like work with a real time, when you start working on application, I feel like there are other control statements. We still get loops though. We'll have if else, we'll have switch, then we'll have, I think we have one or two that I cannot even remember at the moment now. But basically, these are just the two ones that we would have, right? So the switch statement, that one too, it does something similar like this, right? But the syntax is just that you have a condition, right? Once you have a condition, then you now have like a switch, right? Switch. Then you have the condition. Once you have the condition here. Then what you now have is now different case. Also, if it is just okay, let me just write this. Add down to write this in that. So we have like case one. It will enter the case. If the case is fulfilled, right? It's no. This is switch. Then we have cases. Case should be the condition, right? Case should be the condition. Then it will now do this. I'll still explain this. I'm just trying to break. Then we have another case. Then we have another condition. Condition. They will say do this. Then we have another condition. They will say do this. Then say break. So let me just this is let's just take this as the syntax for a switch case, right? Let me now give an example. Why is this short? Okay. So we can say like let's say string day equals to can say this day equals to Monday, right? So I can have a switch case here that would say switch it will take this day, then I will now have different case. So if my case is Monday, I would say print, let me just say print um, start the week, then I would do break. Okay, so this should be this. Now, okay, so I cannot do if my case is Tuesday, I will not say print, I'll say second day of the week, and I have to break, right? Then I can do same for Thursday and say this is for Thursday and say this is third day of the week. Then after this, once I have to break this, then I'll now say my default should just print, let's say, midway, right? Let's just say others. So basically, this is very very similar to if else, right? I mean, if you check it, it is saying it is say this is we have to set like a day, right? So if I run this now, I should get start of the week. So basically, what he's just doing is just to enter the case now, enter the switch statement with what the value that we have here, and it will now map it to whatever you have here to print to check the case. I don't know if anybody understands this flow, right? Can you guys hear me? So basically, it's just like this, right? Once you define this is a string. It might be any value. It might be an integer. It might be a double. Once you define it in this switch, right, it will take that parameter, right, that you are sending, and it will now check, okay, which of the case has this. So if I'm sending my this if I'm sending my days to like a Wednesday, right, once I run this, it will go to this place, and once it executes what we have in this block of code, it will break. So basically, what you just need to understand here is just the syntax. All you need to know is that this is case. You define the conditions. I mean, you set the variable, right? And you now map it to case. And once you are done, you have to break it. I think there should be an error here if I don't break, right? I'm not sure this will work. So you have to break your case so that it will know that, okay, oh, once I'm done executing what I have here, I need to close whatever I'm doing. Do you get? That's for case, right? And that's for switch statement. I don't know if anybody has any question at this point for both switch statements and for the control flow statements that we've talked about. Talked about. Okay, yeah, you can go, and sure. Please unmute your mic and let me hear your question before I move to the next one.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I really don't understand this switch case, so I don't know if you could explain it. And my network is so unfriendly.
Okay. So can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so this switch statement is just take. Do you understand if else, right? If statement, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you know that for if statements, right, we are just checking the condition here, right? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you know that for if statements, right, we are setting a value, right, and we are checking if this one is true, it should enter A, right? If this one is true, it should enter A, right? Do you understand the flow we have on if statements, right?
Yes, I do.
So for switch statement is quite similar as well, right? It will check this is the value. Is this once it enters this line 66, we are setting the day to be equals to Wednesday. Once it will check, it will put Wednesday here. It will now run it through the cases that we have that we've set already. So it will enter it to check is case one now. Is this case one is day Wednesday? If it is no, it will not do this one. It will move to the next case. Is the day here? Is it Wednesday? It will not. It will still bypass this if the condition is not true till it gets to the default one that literally match the date that we have here. In a case where he's not seeing anyone, it will not print default, which is similar to what we have in the X in the other part here. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do understand now. Okay.
So it is just similar, right? So basically, we have switch statements. We often use switch statements when I want to like give you like a live switch, like a case, a real use case in our application now, right? So let's say now that okay, so I think I'll be more focused on fintech because I mean that's where I have like my listing home, right? So let's say you are working on a financial application now, right? And in your dashboard, user have different type of accounts. So we have a naira account, we have a dollar account, and we have a pounds account. So and I can now say I want to now display the icon, right? So what I can just do here is just to pick what is the currency. So I can say that if this currency is NGN, right? If what is returned from the currency is NGN, right? Let's say I can say NGN should be equal to I can say display display Naira icon. If this one is USD, I can say display. I can say display US a dollar. This. Let me just do this. A dollar icon. Then if this one is probably GBP, I can say it should just display. I can say just display a pound icon. Then I can now set my default icon. I can just set my default icon to Naira. So basically, what is coming from the account? So basically, what is just I will just check this. I'll just map this to what is coming from my account type, right? So if the account is now a Naira account, it will display a Naira icon. If the account is like a dollar, I don't know. Do you get this point? So this is like a use case of where we use like a switch statement in a real-time application or probably in a live application bigger so that we'll not just say like okay we'll move from probably printing this to actually get the use case because that is what is really important. I don't know if you understand this point before I move to the next. Does anybody have a question or probably anything as regards this before we move to the next thing? The actual, can you hear me? Do you understand now?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
All right, right. So that's that for yeah, Emmanuel, you can shoot.
Okay, so what I want to ask, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so what I want to ask is for this switch case statement, can we use can we consider two variables?
Can you what?
Consider two variables.
Um Two variables. What do you mean by two
Yeah.
variables? Like can you take two variables
Okay.
like
Yeah.
or let me I'm not so
Okay.
sure. I'm not
Okay. What I'm saying is, we have string d equals to ngn naira. So can we maybe have another variable then we will check maybe okay, this one I switch the case ngn. Now we check probably that if it's ngn and if it's something for the other variable, then it should now print something, just like the conditional statement. Can you get
no,
what
no, we
I'm
can't,
saying?
we
Right?
can't. Yeah, I get your point, but we can't do say switch statement like that. It's just it's in
Okay.
cases. So basically, we are just checking. If you just loop through that set of condition and just pick the one that suits the case, right? So we can now do
Yeah.
what we can just do here is what we can now do here is sometimes we can do like but that might not be for this. You can just check if the case dots, you can literally just filter the list and check if it contains ngl, you should display this. We have a case like that, but
Oh,
for the scope of this class, we can just let's just stick with the basics and
okay, sir.
all right. So then say what's the time now? 9:41. I need to really move. Okay, so then next what have is what do I want? Okay, so then next we have a loop. So I mean we all know loop. I mean loop is just like from the name is just like something that just goes in like a cycle. You get. So loops are just used to, let me say I want something to, let's say I want something to I want a program to run in a number of times, right? I can use loop for that. And an example would be that let's say I want to print five, let's say I want to count I want to write a code that will count 1 to 100, that will print 1 to 100 for just like for this text, right? If I want to write that, that means that if I want to go in normal route, I'll be saying, let's say I want to, yes, I'll be saying print, 1, 2, 3. So we can just write a loop that will just print. It will run through the length. It just runs like a step of a number of times, and it will, print that for us. So I'll just give us the syntax for that, right? So that is I have a quite number of loops. I think we have for loop, we have while loop, we have do while, then I think we have I think yes, I think for Flutter we have I think for that, sorry, we just have I think maybe 2 or 3 more. I can't really remember right now, but I'll just be streamlining this course to just the feel that I know that okay, these are the things that you get to know, you work with and use more often. So the for loop, right? For loop. Please, if you guys don't understand, let me just go back. So basically, the syntax is very, very simple. We have um, how do I want to put it now? Okay, let me first write the syntax first. I think I need this, I need this, I need this. So we have a for loop that it will take the integer like a value, let's say I, would assign it to something, assign it to a value, then we'll now say that this is the assignment. Then the next one is now I is, let's say, greater than or equal to this thing. This one is what's this one? This is the condition, right? Then we'll now say I plus plus. This is the increment. Then we'll now have our block of code. So we'll now have like we'll now have do this. So this is just how for loop works, right? So let me now give you an example, right? A real example is like I want to count numbers from, let's say I want to count numbers from 1 to, I'll stick with 100 for now, right? So I can just say like for int high, I need to define my data type is equal to, it will start from, let's say I want my number to start from 1, right? I'll close it. I'll now say that high, which is this one, should be less than or equal to 100. I'll close this. Just what we make, right? Then I will now have my increment that okay, I plus plus. Sorry about that. So once I have that, I'll now say that print. I can now say count equals to I. So okay, what I'm just saying here is that I'm saying like my height should start from 1. It will now check, yeah, this is where the condition is. If this condition is not met, right, it will keep executing what we have here. And this increment is like, okay, I'll still show you an example of this. Like increment is plus one, plus plus means you should increase it by 1. So this is how the loop would run. But you just need to understand how it works. Leave the computer to do the, to this calculation itself. So if you say I equals to 1, if you check, is I greater than 100? If you say no, so the first value will be 1, right? Let me start with 5 first, so that you guys can understand. The first value is I, right, which is 1. You get. It will not say is 1, is it greater than 5? Is it less than or equal to 5? Which is no. It will run this value. It will not go back again. So it will keep going back to this condition here is true. I mean it's false, sorry. If this condition is true, it will keep executing what we have in this block of code. So if I run this thing now, it will keep checking number of times that I don't know why this thing is taking so long. I don't know why that part is doing this. So can you see now that the first time it checked, can you guys see my screen? Can you guys hear me? Sorry, so that's
Yeah, yeah.
awesome, awesome. All right, thank you. So if you check this block of code right now, it is executing 5 times. So the first thing is it will start from 1, which is your initial value that you are setting it to here, right? It will not check, is this 1 here? So this one will be 1. Is 1 less than or equal to 5? If it is true, it will enter this place. Then once the enter is now, it will not change the high to 1 instead of it change the high, the next one to 2. Sure, you understand? So basically, it's just to perform. So it will keep running through this loop while this is true. It will only get to false when this value here is false. So let's say, for example, now we have 100 here, 100 here. It will run this loop 100 times. I mean, it's so basically that is how loop works, right? Let's wait for this one to. So it will keep running, going through this flow till this condition is false. That is where it will stop. Can you see now that? Can you see that it started counting from 1 and it stopped at where did it stop? 90. Who's happening? Who's happening now? Sorry, hold on now. Shit. Why is it? Um, Sorry, let me just return so that we can see what is happening there. So that is just for loop, right? So basically, for loop might be a bit confusing, right? But you just need to understand the basics, right? And once you understand the basics, just leave computer, let computer do the iteration itself. So this is for loop ahead. So can you see now that? So if I'm changing this value to let's say 4 now, right? You know that you start from where exactly like that. So can you guys hear me? Hello? Oh, awesome. So if I'm changing this, let's say I'm now saying this is plus or minus. So I'm increasing this value to 2 now. So let's say I'm starting from 2 again now. That means I'll be increasing instead of it increasing by 1, it will be increasing by 2. So we should have this is 2 to 10, right? So where is it not printed now? Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. Why is this thing not printing out? So that is just that for that's that for loops, right? I'm still waiting for this print results, honestly. I don't know why it's taking that to load on that part. So this is for loop. So then another loop that would have is have y. We have oh shit. Oh, this is not responding. Sorry, I think I'm having a bit of oh okay, let me close this. Hey, shit. Okay, all good. So another one we have is we have the while loop. So the while loop is a bit straightforward. So let me just while loop, right. So this is very very simple. The syntax is very very simple. So why this one is true, it will keep executing that line of code. So why? So I can just say that. Let me give the syntax, right? The syntax should just be that. Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me? Um,
Yes.
Yes.
my that part is a bit misbehaving at the moment. Let me just stop sharing this with that. I'll share something with it. I'll share again, my please. Hold on. Um, that part. I'm just coming on. Just give me a moment. Okay. So I'll share this window. Okay. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. So the syntax for while loop is very, very simple, right? So why this is true, why the condition is true, right? When the condition is true, you should just do something, right? Let's just have it as do this. So basically that is just how while loop works, right? So an example would that be that would have it let me just say it's I equals to one, right? Sorry. So I cannot say why I I is less than or equal to 5, right? It should print what do we have there. Let me just print this. Then I now have to okay, sorry. Then and I have to add my increment, say hi plus plus. Good. So basically it will keep executing this statement when this one is true. I don't know if you guys get. So it will stop executing this print when this one is false. So it's just like, in our if statement, we say if this one is true, you should enter this block. So basically, if this one is now false, now that is when our loop will stop running, right? So let's say count for while loop. So for while loop, right? So once I execute this now, so basically, it will just once you enter this while loop, once you get this while loop, it will check one is one less than or equals to 5. If it is true, it will enter here. So once it enter here now, our 1 year will be it will increase this value. Enter this one back that like 1 plus 1 will be 2. So this plus plus means that it should increase the number value by 1, right? So to now go back to this one, it now say that is 2 greater than or equals to 5. If it is still true, it will print the value. Come back here and tell you that okay, this value, this guy is now, it was 1 before, it's now 2. It will increase it to 3. That is how it will keep going till this condition is met, right? So once this condition is now met, right? Let's say this one is now 6. It will now say that is 6 greater than or equal to 5, which is false. Then it will not print this part. So that's that on while loop, right? Let me try to run this again. So once I'm just waiting for my that part to so that we can have the outputs here. That's that, but that's just the flow for while loop. So do you guys understand, or probably do you have any question as regards this while we wait for this to load? Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
So do you have any questions or probably comment as regards this loops, this for loop and while loop, so that we can, I think it's getting late already. We can just probably end the class here and I'll give an assignment for you guys to work around it.
All right. Okay. So can you please just in 2 minutes or in a minute go through the while loop again?
Okay, so the while loop. Sorry, my that part, um my Chrome is saying that my this page is currently unresponsive. It's not responsive. So I guess that is why this is not working right. So the while loop is very, very simple. Why is it doing like this? So the while loop is just very, very is just very, very simple, right? You know that I'm setting my integer value to be 1 here. So it will not say this one. Let me just give you what is happening in the computer, right? How the computer is thinking. The first iteration, is saying like the value I equals to 1. I equals to 1 here. You should not check is 1 less than or equal to 5. If it is 1 is less than or equal to 5, it is true. It will print this value. So because we're not doing high plus plus. After printing this value, we are saying like increase this value by 1. That is what this plus plus means. So it will now say that I will now be 1. I will now be equals to 1 plus 1 here, right? So I equals to 2 here. It will not take this 2 to this place. It will not check is 2 greater than, less than, or equal to 5. If it is still true, it will print this value, right? It will not come here. Our high now here is 2, not 1. So it will not say increase this guy by 1. So it will not say it is 2 plus that's 2 plus 1, right? Once you have this 2 plus 1, right, it will not go back to this y. This one will now be 3. That is what is literally happening in the loop. So for every iteration, this plus plus, any increments we are doing here, I think this is what is causing the page to lag. Any iteration we are doing here is increasing the value of this f. So when you come to the third time, the high is now 3. Once it's 3 less than or equal to 5, if you say yes, it will go here. So 3 will now be 4. 3 will now be 3 plus 1 because we are doing I plus plus. Remember that this is our increment. We can do I plus is to increase it by 1. We can do I plus, probably plus or plus plus 3. That means we'll be increasing the value by 3. So if you keep going through this iteration before we get to, so when this condition is now false, when this guy changed to like 6, it will not check is 6 less than or equal to 5, which is false, then the loop will stop. So do you understand the flow? Like that's just the iteration flow that is happening. But why we have to, but you don't have to worry about this. It's just that the computer is the one doing that this thing for you. All you have to do is just to get your understand the syntax and understand how it works. Because we have an error if we say, let's say we have something like this. What can we say? We just have an error. Let's say if we say this, because this one the loop will just keep running, and it start crashing your application. In fact, it will first crash the browser. Safe. I'm not sure I want to do that. So do you understand the flow that I just did for this while loop? Hello, can anybody hear me? Emmanuel, are you there? Do you get the flow now?
Yes, 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 yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. We can hear you.
Oh, do you get the flow now?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much for the in-depth explanation.
Okay, so that's that on that. So I feel like that will be all for that should be all for tonight's class. Yes. So probably tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll have a conversation with Femi, which is a community manager. I'll send like an assignment for you guys to just practice with. So basically, you've understood the flow right now, right? What you just now is you can now. I mean, we can just use this even with this what's the name? This one we can say like we can write a DAX program to probably calculate a CGPA of the students. You get what you just have to do is get the score of the student per subject. You get once you get the score of the student per subject, you can use we can I can say like probably just use if else or something. So you can know what their current grade per score. You get and also we can just say that okay, run a loop that will probably just run like a loop to why this is true. Then also let me add this. Let me add this. I think I need to probably just so in this loop, right? That I'm just printing. Sorry. Imagine. So this value that we are just printing this thing, it might be that it should do. It might not be print. It might just be that it should do something else. Might be like in the normal a use case scenario, it would definitely be like a full block of code that okay, why this thing is why this thing is running, do this. So basically in like in a use case, I'm trying to give like a real life a real application of this is that there are some things that would have how well to now. There are some things that will have like a clone job. Let's say that I don't know if you an example would be your I'm trying to use for a case that I'm trying to use for a case that you guys will understand that it keeps running. Okay, let's say like your does that work like that? Most of them are clones. I'm trying to give you most of them are clones, right? The example I want to give is like an alarm, right? That once you snooze for 5 minutes, it circle back to say, okay, after 5 minutes, come back to please pick up this thing. But most of that's like a clone job. So I feel like that might not be the best use case for this, right? But when you start coding, I mean, you get to see all these things a lot. I mean, you see that if statement, right? You get to use it a lot. I mean, if you want to check if this is not this, display this. If this is not this, enter this block of code. Okay, if let's say you're working on an application now and it has like some let me say that I'm going to put it now like you have to put some checks like okay we want to um what can I say let's say like you have I'm trying to think of a very use case that everybody can relate to when we use the application. Okay, good. If you want to do let's say OTP validation now, right? Once the first thing you do is to input your phone number, right? Is you input your phone number and they will send that phone number to you. That they'll send the OTP to your number. However, if you notice like the proceed button might be grayed out if the 6 digit or probably the 4 digit OTP is not there. So when we do some validation, we'll check okay if the OTP is not if the number of that text field is not up to like 4, we have to display like we just gray out the proceed button or probably continue button or something like that. So that's just a very, I mean, you get to use this if statement a lot in your application. So I feel like it's something you need to just, it's not like you don't need to cram them, you don't need to, just understand that, okay, these are the syntax, this is how they work, and you will always be fine. So I think that would probably end my session tonight. Does anybody have probably a question or comment so I can after that and probably we can just proceed. Then we can end the class tonight. Then probably I'll send the assignments to the group. And also the assignments out. Probably I'll just communicate that once probably get that update from your community manager. Any questions or comments before we round up the class for today?